Yeah. So I think we can start now.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. So you welcome to the class. Like I said earlier, this is a Ppgdsw 730 Social Welfare Institution. We have had some classes before now. So I'll quickly go back to quickly review what we did before now. So social, in one of our classes, we define what social welfare is. So social welfare is described as the organized system of social system, an institution designed to aid individuals and groups to attain certified standard of life and health, then personal and social relationship, which permits them to develop full capacity and to promote their well-being in harmony with the needs of their families and community. So the idea of social welfare refers to well-being, that means the well-being of the people. Then in the society, we have the vulnerables. Probably they are vulnerable, maybe by what's it called now? Someone that is unemployed now, by one way or the other, the person could be vulnerable. Maybe maybe the person is disabled for one reason or the other. So there's always a provision for such people. So those that cannot cater for themselves. So social welfare is the provision of a minimal level of well-being and social support for all citizens. So it can be taken to refer to the provision of social welfare. That means principally the health, housing, then social security and education. So when we look at it generally, social welfare refers to a wide range of activities that is serviced by, it could be by the government, maybe volunteers, NGOs, non-profit organization, then providing help to the needy persons who are unable to care for themselves in order to eliminate or reduce the incidence of social problem. Then social welfare is a state of human well-being that is exists when social problems are managed. So when human needs are met and when social opportunities are maximized. So social welfare is mainly to help in solving a social problem. So in a society, by one way or the other, there's always one problem or the other. So the provision to cater for that for the well-being of those that are involved in the problem or in the society as a whole. So that's what we call social welfare. So we look at it then. We look briefly at the history of social welfare generally. So social welfare began in the colonial period with the adoption of Elizabeth First Law. So the basis of that law is to do what? Is for treatment of the society poor and deviant. So the law was enacted purposely to do what? To cater for the poor in the society and the deviant. And looking at the act then, majorly, the basis of that law, that means Elizabeth First Law, is majorly for the impotent, that means the poor, people who can't work at all, who were for them to be catered for. And in that law, there's a provision that, okay, those people that can't work, that are impotent, there's a provision for them. They were to be careful in where they call an almshouse or poorhouse. So the law offered relief to those people who were unable to work. Probably they are, what's it called now? They are lame or blind, or maybe by virtue of maybe age or whatever. So they are unable to work. There's this provision for them. So those, the vulnerable ones, there's provision for them. And the law also provided for the able bodies, those that are able-bodied poor, they call them able-bodied poor, were to set to work in the house of the industry. That is those that are able, but by virtue of by one way or the other, maybe they couldn't get a job. So they are unemployed. They are willing to do something, but they couldn't get to do. So the law to make provision for them, for those able bodies. So at that point, materials were provided for the poor to be set to work. Now we have another one. The law now also make provision for the idle poor. They call them idle poor. No, they have what it takes to work, but they are not what? They are not willing to do what? To do anything. So they refer to them as idle poor and vagrants. So they were to be sent to the house of corrections or even prison. So there was a provision for those set of people too. So probably maybe we can they call it correctional center. So where they might need rehabilitation. So the provision is there for them. Now we look the fourth one, where the provision for the make provision for children where children will become apprentices. So that means everybody is being catered for, even the children at that point. So those are the major points of this Elibes Paul's law. So the principle and policies of English Paul's law were carried by the settler of the American colonies in the early years. So, but the impact of this, later, the impact of Revolutionary War, large-scale migration, then rapid industrialization and widespread spread urbanization, increase the incidence of poverty. Probably people looking for white-collar job and so on. So there was immigration, the large scale of immigration, then rapid industrialization, then widespread of urbanization. Because of urbanization, there was movement. So, and that one increases and raise the cost of tax and require for the poor. So to cut the cost of the poor relief now, new laws were enacted so that the no able-bodied person between the age of 18 to 50, that means no able-bodied, someone that is able to do work, that can work, will be given public assistance. And the young and even the old too, disabled residents who are unable to care for themselves were placed in a public or religious institution. So what we are saying in essence is that with time, there was a kind of review. So new law was enacted. So it was progressive. Then very shortly too, circumstances demanded that more public attention to prevent poverty and other social ills, and finding way to help those in need, to become more independent and sufficient. So contributing to this, was a bit, what's it called now, embarrassing reports published about condition and institutional care, and a number of significant developments, such as large influx of immigrants, rapid industrial and urban growth, then low wages, slumhouses, then diseases and child labor. So this condition developed greater public health efforts. So a mental health movement, the settlement house movement and other programs. So that one, these factors now, the influx of immigrants, then rapid industrial and urban growth, and all those stuff, was the pressure was so much on this thing now, on the system. So the condition now developed a great health public health effort. So a mental movement and a settlement house movement to the program. So as time goes on, as things based on the changes of the society, one factor or the other, there's always a new law helping the system. So those are this thing. So for instance, between 1800 and 1860, from history, it was discovered that about 60 million immigrants came to US, composed mainly of very poor German and Irish Catholics. So all these foreigners were not welcomed into the Protestant ethnical society of America, nor did they receive help from existing private and sectional charities. So eventually, these new American citizens will adopt and create their own service, then charitable organizations similar to what Jewish Protestant communities provided for their members. So people were trying to do was to create something to do was to be able to help those that are in need within themselves. So though that's just the history. So with time, it gets to a time that it has to be, so the social workers have to be involved. This was becoming a major problem. So social welfare history describes the changes in helping activities and services initiated in the US to combat variety of social ills, complex origins, while the poverty and public assistance play large roles in narrative, and they are not what's it called now, entire history. So social welfare history reflects the lives of people living, being educated, working, and voting the nation. Then the efforts of individual religious groups, non-NGOs, the government recounted in the history and have strengthened the fabrics of American society and improved the quality of life for many who lived within the borders. So it was progressive. So from the colonial period to the progressive era, social welfare roots remained firmly embedded in Elizabeth's law. So the law was still ongoing, but there's always a kind of a review. So they dictated the poverty and deviation were personal rather than societal problem. So the hard work rather than public aid through 17th and 18th centuries, family and local responsibility, categorization poor, the institutional placement that provided the solution to social problems. So in the 1700s, new humanitarian and scientific interests began in the to differentiate the social need, leading to a new perspective and programs in the 1800s. So at that point, the women movement, massive immigration, and the Civil War led to the divergence of private and public care system. Diversification of social welfare agencies organized at the state and the national level. So the training for caseworkers and administrations led to social work as a profession stepped in dual approach of caseworkers and community organization of the work with individual and family and the advocacy of policy changes. So what we are saying in essence is that on this, at a point we discovered that looking at the history of social work generally, social work happens to be as old as human existence. Where we have more or one people, there's always a problems. And looking at social problems, is the deviation from the norms of the society. So by one way or the other, it has been the problems, social work has been existing. Then what's it called now? People are there. Then there's always a provision. No, people will just work out things for them. Then there was no, at this point, what's it called? From that 1601 downline, no, there was no existence of what's it called now? A professional social workers. So it's got, when it got to a point, no, they have to involve professional social workers who are called as case workers. No, they are to look at, okay, looking at the problems, then those that are involved, then how they can be helped. So that's it. Then we also look at the history of social welfare in Nigeria. So like I said earlier, the origin of social welfare could be said to have probably originated with the beginning of human life and their association with others. So in the olden days, the spirit of what's it called, neighborliness and helping one another to solve problems collectively existed normally and in a daily pattern. And if you look at it, what's it called now? Africans generally, we have our systems in place. For instance, in Nigeria now, in each ethnic groups has a way of resolving social problems as are there. In a Yoruba certain ethnic group, we have what we call an Ebi system, where you be your brothers and keepers. So that means there was always a provision for social what's it called now, welfare of the people as old as are then. Just let's say when the pre-colonial era, before the emergence of the colonial masters. So as at then, there was always provision. I think in the Igbos, then we have what we call an age grade. So those people, their majorly is to do what? To take care of both the old, the young, and this thing, both the old and the young and the old. So we have a good family system where trainings are taking place. We were trained, people were being trained through norms and culture. Then we discovered that there was provision for the older ones within the society, where the younger one will provide for what what they will eat. So what we are saying in essence is that either it's something, the system might be a bit primitive, but the fact remains that there was social welfare services. We have the elders, we have the summarization in the age grade and some other system. And as old as are then now, then there was this, they have judicial system where traditional rulers, they preside over whatever that happens. So they act as the judge. So, and then as are then too, the traditional rulers and the heads of the family heads too, what they do is to do what? To maintain discipline, to settle disputes and all others. So what we are saying in essence is that there has been provisions for this as at then, before the pre-colonial eras. Then, even looking at it, even during the colonial, when at the emergence of the colonial eras, what we had on ground was improved on. As at then, the welfare system that was on ground, like the training then, through culture and what's it called now, probably norms and some other things. When it came, there was this educational system was improved on. So before the pre-colonial era, it was informal educational system. Now at the emergence of the colonial era, there was a kind of formal education introduced by the colonial masters as then. Then there was what's it called now? Provision for health care system, and also judicial system and others. In the olden days then, there was provision for prisons too, prison system, where dungeon can where they dug dungeons and keep those people that those that work against the rules of the land. So there was always a provisions to cater for one problem or the other. At a point, those people that commit offenses, at times they were beaten, flogged, and at times they are manhandled. What we call jungle justice, where people will be thrown to death. So there was provision, but then with the emergence of the colonial masters, so there was the justice system was improved on, and there was the prison system too. Where we have prisons was created for those that commit offense, the offenders. So the same thing, there was provision for the olds and even the juveniles too. So that's where the old people's home comes in and every other things. And also too, for the juveniles, there was correctional centers created for them. So those are the things that we have on ground as at then. So what we are now saying in essence is that social welfare system has been on ground, and it's always, there's always improvement about it. So that's it for the history. Any question? Any question? Madam Deborah.
For 4 areas the registration covered. I only picked 3. The one of the
Okay, the law.
the poor people.
Okay, where it talks about
vulnerable
the
people.
it talks about the impotent.
Then you talk
Okay,
about
the
the
first
children.
one is the first one is about the impotent poor, or those that are poor that have to be catered for. The second one has
Yes.
to do with the able-bodied poor that were to be set
Okay.
to work. Those, they are able-bodied, so they do is as probably they are unemployed. Then the other one, the idle poor, those that they are idle. What's it called? They are able-bodied, they can work, but probably they are not ready to work. So there was provision for them.
Okay.
You get. So in
Okay.
form of a correctional center or maybe rehabilitation center, but there was always also a provision for them. So the other one is how to do about the paupers and children, where they were fixed as an apprentice. Then, as at then, the children around, they would make sure that they are fixed up for them to do what? To be, at least in the process, they will be catered for. So those are the 4 this thing. Then when it now come to Nigerian this thing, probably Africa or whatever, I want to ask you, what's your understanding about this thing, the welfare system? And even in your own, you are from which state?
From Abia State.
Okay, so I want you to tell me the the Igbo side, they have what they call age grade and some other things, and I think they have one of the classes, one of the previous classes, somebody mentioned something that like umunada also. I might not get the pronunciation very well.
Umada.
Don't mind me. So
Umada.
Exactly. So how does that one relate to welfare system?
Okay, that's Umada. What they used to do, they will organize like women that that are married, let's
Mm-hmm.
assume this is a village. All the girls, all the women that are married to another place, I mean, they have gone to their husband's house. So that union is just to bring them together again, that they are from this community.
Okay.
Let's assume I'm from this village, I'm married to maybe
But
a Calabar person.
yeah.
So the woman
In that case,
forum,
okay, in that case,
so bring us that marry different.
Okay. Then if anyone has any problem, is there any provision to help?
So
does it cater for the welfare of the people in that group?
Yes. At times, if somebody dies, the mother must come and stay with the bereaved person.
Okay.
It's a compulsory. You see them carry their chair, stay. If you come, they will take your name. If you don't come, there's a penalty you pay. Because as women that born from that village, if anything happens, that you people will come and oversee it, even if that you people married outside, you have married, that you still have a stake in your father's house, so something like that. So you will come and stay. Then if there is anything that they are doing, they will say, first of all, go and see Umada, because they have a say. And if there is any person like a widow that is being maltreated, if the person reports it to Umada, Umada will come in a huge, summon a meeting. That so person is being maltreated by their husband. The Umada will summon a meeting and come and investigate that place. Why are you doing this? If you don't do anything, they can corroborate and go to any non-governmental agencies that handle widow's
voice for the widow
problem. If they cannot handle it themselves, yes. If the community cannot hear governmental agencies that handle widows case, and they will stand by it. Can you imagine if the case come up, all the women that will overcrowd the court, they will asking the widow, where do you know these people? And at times they will go with their uniform to tell you that this is their person, that they are behind this person, that God will feel with them, in fact.
So from what you have said so far now, by one way or the
these
other,
are some of the social welfare they can assist.
So widows
and when you want to do something, and they say Umada have not talk, especially when men, some of them will say they will strip naked. If they,
Hello? Seems that we have a network issues. So from that scenario now, we can see that there's always a provision for the vulnerable, like the widows. Then the system has created a way of taking care of them. No, that's why at times they do what we call this thing. They will have to inherit. Maybe the man in the family will inherit the woman. So in order for a kind of protection. So what we are saying in essence is that there's always a welfare provision. Deborah, I hope you are back. I think that should be network issue. Hello, are we together? think she had issues with her network. She's offline already. So you welcome back, Deborah. So let's look at the social welfare system.
Sorry, my phone just trip up and off immediately.
No problem.
I don't know what's the
problem. I thought as much. No problem.
Hey.
No problem. So
Just
you're
off,
welcome back.
just off, and I'm just off.
You know,
thank you, ma.
These devices. So from what we have said so far, now, there was provision for the widow. They are what? They are vulnerables. They are vulnerable. So there was a kind of there has been a kind of provision to take care of them, to keep them. And you discover too in some ethnic groups, even like it's happening in Yoruba too, where available men can inherit them. Sure you get. So those are the things that we are talking about, the welfare system, which have been existent even pre-colonial master, during colonial master, and everything is what is being built upon. So let's look at a social welfare system. Social welfare system provides assistance to individuals and families in need. So the type and amount of welfare available to individuals and families varies depending on the country. It depends on the state or region. For instance, in Nigeria, the welfare system varies. The welfare system, apart from the general one, which is at the federal level, when it comes to state, what's it called now? Each state welfare system varies from one state to the other. So, and even US too, we cannot but refer to them because that's the benchmark of what's it called now? A welfare system. So in the federal government made provision for grants to each state through the temporary assistance for the needy families. They call it TNF program. So the benefit that an individual or family receive as part of the social welfare system will vary by state and with eligible requirements. So what we're saying in essence is that there's always a provision, and probably maybe the federal will make provision for grants for the state. It happens within the system, Nigeria system too, where provision will be made for each state to do what? To take care of the welfare of the people. So social welfare system provide assistance to individual, family through programs such as healthcare, food stamp, unemployment compensation, then housing assistance, and child care assistance. So for instance too, in US, a caseworker is assigned to individual or family applying for the benefits to determine this and confirm the applicant's need. That's where the social workers are coming in. So the social workers act as a what's it called now? As an interface between the people and the government, or between the people that are making provision for the welfare system. They will have to do what? Look for the individual that are in need, then applying for the benefits. They will have to assess them, then confirm them. They will now confirm the applicant's need and now present it to the government. Now, the benefits available to individual varies by state, like I said earlier. So eligibility is determined based on the factors surrounding the person's financial status, and now it relates to the minimum and acceptable level within the particular state. So the factors involved can include the size of the family unit, current income levels, and access the disability. So now, giving out the welfare this thing now, there are some factors that influences it. So which includes the size of the family unit, then maybe the current income, maybe what is coming for the family may not be suitable to take care of the entire family, and probably the disability, their disability to be assessed. Maybe the husband might be disabled, or maybe what's it called now? That maybe is blind or whatever, visually impaired. So he might not be able to do what to make provision for the family. So those are the things that will be considered in giving out the welfare services to them. Then within each state, social welfare system may go by different names, but often serve similar functions. So we have it differently in states. So this can cause the confusion when attempting to compare one state program to another. So additionally, the requirements to qualify also vary depending on the poverty line in the particular state. So this also for adjustments based on items such as cost of living and are not standardized across the country. So a social welfare system offers assistance to individuals. That's what I've said so far now, and families in need with such programs as healthcare and what's it called now? Healthcare assistance, food stamp, then unemployment compensation. Then lesser known parts of the social welfare system include disaster relief and educational assistance. In case of disaster, there's always provision for the welfare of those people that were involved. For instance, in the up north there, that's why we have a lot of external displays, they have an arrangement for them where they are being kept, and their welfare system is being catered for. Some years ago, when we did this bomb blast in Lagos State, there was a provision Then I think over the years now, where we are flooding everywhere in the eastern part and some other parts, there's always a relief. So disaster relief is part of the social welfare system. Then educational assistance, giving bursary to students and some other things, or helping those that the bursary for those that are from poor backgrounds. Then the federal government provide grants to each state through the temporary assistance for needy and facility program. So it depends on the country. So the federal government will always make provision for the states. So at the state too, we support. Then eligibility of the benefit is based on the number of factors. The factor that we mentioned earlier, maybe the number of the family, then the disability. A lot of things will be considered. So then available benefit generally covers assistance for food, housing, childcare, and medical care. So in federal funds are provided to states for distribution. So the funds may be used for cash assistance, allowing a household to spend the funds on as it deems necessary to meet the needs of an obligation. So some available housing benefits to go beyond locating suitable and affordable properties. So housing benefits. So they have to do what? It goes beyond locating suitable and affordable properties and providing housing cost assistance. So it now depends how the government can come in. So a household may qualify for assistance to complete certain energy efficiencies upgrade. So it might not be, when we're talking about this thing, housing provision, it might be, what's it called now? What is the needs of the people within this thing? Some people are okay, probably they are unable to pay for house rent, so the arrangement will be made so that they won't be rendered homeless and some other things like that. So another one, benefits around the nutrition can include access to affordable medical and food and nutrition programs, so which may be supply of funds, then often referred to as food stamps. That's in USD. Then to provide easy access for food in general. So additional nutritional assistance too through women and for the women, infants, and children. The program provides food specific benefits and ensure pregnant women and young children have access to healthy food options to promote growth and development. So there's always provision for the pregnant women and the young ones. So let's quickly look at the social welfare policy. Social welfare policy. Nowhere, if you assess something welfare, we have been able to define what welfare is. Then what is now policy? Social welfare policy. What is policy? Policy is a deliberate, I think it's a deliberate system of guidelines to guide a decision and achieve rational outcome. So it could be a law, what's it called now? Could be a regulation, procedure, then administrative actions or voluntary or practice of government to another institution. So it's a deliberate thing. Okay, what if we are going to look at this, then what do we do? How do we implement it? Then what will now be the outcome? Just to achieve what's it called now? In order to achieve a good welfare system, then a social welfare policy is implemented by at times by the government. So in aim to protect citizens who may be considered poor or unemployed or unhealthy, or those that seem to be marginalized within their community. So social welfare policy is usually funded partly or entirely by the government. So an example of social welfare policy that government partially fund in the United States is social security program. Social security program is a pay-as-you-go program where the payment by the current workforce are collected by retirees as a pension. So other social welfare policies rely entirely on the government funding to provide services. So the main goal of social welfare policy is to provide a safety net to those who need support due to situation such as what's it called now? Poverty, unemployment, poor health, disability, or other circumstances that we as a society have deemed as required outside that is requiring assistance. So the policy is majorly to make provisions for the safety of those that are in need within the society. So for the such as those that are poor, the unemployed, those that doesn't have access to good health care system. So these programs are they are there to make sure that every citizen can maintain the minimum standard of living, dignity that the society feel that they should have, and their essential needs are met. So it's available everywhere. In Nigeria, we have a welfare policy, and to an extent, there's what's it called now? Healthcare. There's provision for healthcare. This thing for the welfare of people. It might not be as robust as is being expected, but the fact remains that we have it. We have government hospitals. When it comes to education, we have government schools where what is being paid there is what people can still afford. So there's provision for this thing. For I think there's provision at times. There's provision for the unemployed, like that empowered that was during the last administration, where those that are unemployed, they were fixed in some places. In the process, they'll be learning and they'll be getting some stipends from them monthly. Then when it comes to feeding too, at a point too, there are cash in some part of the country, majorly in the northern part. A kind of stipend was given to monthly stipend to people that cannot afford feeding. So that's just that's it about the policy. But the policy too depends on the state. It depends on the country. So these programs are there to make sure that every citizen can maintain the minimum standard of living and dignity within the society. So when we look at this the types of social welfare policies, we have them: the housing policies, the housing social policies. That's where housing social policies help people to avoid homeless. All they do is that to make sure that people they are homeless or other kinds of housing insecurity. They may come with extra benefits like job training and employment opportunity. But the policy remains that is a provision that makes sure that people are not homeless. For instance, during the COVID in Nigeria, particularly in Lagos State, at a point, the government needs to step into the issue of housing and this thing. Something within the Lagos, there was kind of where the government is coming in to make sure that the landlords are not charging probably yearly, so that people can afford to pay monthly and they will not be rendered homeless. Like I said earlier, we in Nigeria, general, or probably in Africa, our social system might not be as robust as expected. But the fact remains that we have a welfare system. All we need to do is to improve on it. So also we have the healthcare, what's it called? Healthcare social policies that help individual access healthcare at minimal cost or no cost. So such programs are designed to improve social well-being and support a productive work force. So one one type of initiative will be the children health insurance policy, which is intended to provide medical assistance to children from the poor family. No, that one too is applicable in this thing. I think they have it in Lagos State here, where most especially pregnant women are being catered for at low cost, very low cost, or at minimal cost. So we have it all over this in some states too. So I think, for instance, we have they have what they call mother and child in Ondo State. So it's just to cater for those that cannot afford that cannot afford what's it called now, healthcare system. Cannot afford to take care of themselves. So those provisions are there. So since healthcare is mainly private industry in United States, the most people rely on their jobs for health insurance, the HMOs. And I think we have that one too here. And we have the federal health insurance, and we have individual companies insurance, where the health of the employees are secured. So I think the company will be funding it. So those are the provisions. Then the National Health Insurance Scheme is a social health insurance program designed by the federal government of Nigeria to complement source of financing the health sector and improve access to healthcare for majority of Nigeria. That's the National Healthcare Scheme. So, and to ensure a healthy and productive society, a program like Medicare makes it easy for people to qualify based on income and family size. Beneficiaries generally don't pay much for their medical care, though this program, the government cover the cost and the care. So the government that cover the cares and the cost. So we have unemployment assistance. Unemployment assistance provide financial aid to unemployed individuals so they can survive through hard times, to find job placement when it comes to addressing income inequalities and unemployment among the low-income senior people with disability. So publication from supplemental security income provides indicate the payment as at 2020. So the statistics are there, and it just help to help people meet basic needs like food, clothing, and shelter. That's that program, supplemental security income program. Then, like I said earlier, the Empower program is a scheme set up in 2016 in Nigeria to address the issue of youth unemployment and help increase social development. The scheme was created as a component national social investment program to provide a structure for large-scale and relevant work skill acquisition and development, and to ensure each participant will learn and practice most of what is necessary to find and to create work. So then, how does social welfare policy happens? So the policy process is in any of the countries, generally entails some steps. So it depends on the country. But what we majorly, when it is a policy, like I said earlier, a policy is a kind of maybe a law, regulation, procedure, or a kind of administrative what's it called now, action. So if it is that, then something has to be done. Then the procedure, let's look at the procedure. No, a bill can be introduced. The bill will be introduced to the Congress, which is legislative branch. So evidence is presented to promote or oppose the bill. So it will be debated upon and voted. So if it is what's it called now, agreed upon, then it becomes a policy. So if the bill is passed into law, regulatory agencies, that means the executive branch, begin drafting rules and regulations to enforce the law. So if the law or regulation is challenged or legal grounds, then the Supreme Court, which is the judicial branch, intervenes to interpret the law or overrule it. So this process is also influenced by non-governmental organizations, that is the NGOs, which include non-profit. Then the group produce research that is then used to promote particular social welfare policy initiatives. The individual member of this group may call to testify before the Congress or specific social welfare policy matters. So what we are saying in essence is that the bill will be presented to the, like in Nigeria now, the bill will be presented to the House, then it will be deliberated upon, and then so what we are saying in essence is that at times it might not be only government that is initiating what's it called now, a policy. If a group of people, maybe the NGOs, even as a social worker, we need seeing the needs of that welfare as far as it's going to help the individuals, the citizens. So it's a thing that at a point can be pushed even to the government. Then it will be deliberated in the House, and the House will decide on what to do about it. We decide, and then probably it will be deliberated upon. Then if it is voted and the House agreed on it, then there will be a kind of drafting. So in order to enforce the law. So that's it. So let's quickly look at the social welfare institution. Is there any question before we move on? Madam Deborah. So if there's none, let's move to social welfare institution. A social welfare institution consists of good group of people who have come together for a common purpose. Institution. These institutions are part of the social order of society, and they govern the behavior and expectation of individuals. Social institutions further exist to help individuals like their best life, live their best lives in the society. They are the building blocks of any functioning society of humans. So agents of social welfare institution. So we look at it one after the other. And those institutions have different roles and significance in affecting the society. So the first one is the family. In the history of social welfare in Nigeria, the family played a large role in training the child, or training generally. So the first contact starts with the family. So family happens to be an institution of its own. It's a unit of the society. So beside the individual, the family is a smallest unit of the field of any social discipline. A discerning kinship, which is a family member's blood or marriage relationship to another family member. Then additionally, the family institutions serve as child first exposure to society. They will use the lesson and skills learned within the family in the larger community. So the example of what is it called now? In second institution of the family includes the nuclear family, which is the parents and the children. The extended family, where relatives of the parents and children are involved, like marriage. Then the families of choice, that means friendship and groups. Then cohabitation, living together. Then parenthood. We have in the marriage, we have monogamy and we have polygamy. So family being an institution that we said that is the child first and exposure to the society. So where the family is not there for the child, there's a tendency that the child will be exposed to what's it called now? A lot be exposed to the harm that is within the community or the society. So the family as an institution have a lot of role to play in welfare institution. Then we have the market, the next level of society, social institution is the economy or market institution. Market institution cover the industry that buys and sells goods. For instance, what is it called? Banking system, capitalism, communism, corporations, credit unions, then insurance companies, limited partnership, then we have a lot of them. So the individuals engage in the economic institution to make a living, to support themselves and their families. It helps them to procure the goods and services they required and sell to others, and service that to others that the others need. Then religious institution, that's part of the institution. Why not every individual practice in religious organization? The institution of religion is present in every human society. So examples are the churches, monks, what's it called? Temples, and host of others. So society may include more than one religion institution, but the purpose of this social institution is the same no matter what religion it is. Religion reinforces the norms and values of the society, and its members generally contribute positively to the society. I hope we are still together, please. Then we also look at educational institution. Educational institutions teaches skills and knowledge to individual, like family. Educational institution pass culture to the next generation to equip them to fully participate in the greater society. They discover example of secondary institution, elementary schools, higher schools, and districts, college, universities, then trade schools. So the educational social institution can be cyclical. That means people who work in the educational institutions, such as teachers, administrators, professors, have gone through the educational system themselves. So there is a kind of circle. So receiving knowledge and passing it to others, then others will pass it to others. So it's a kind of cyclical. Then they help to prepare the next generation for the most professions in society, including educational careers. And we have government and state as what? As one of the institutions. So government or state is another major social institution. Every social society has a ruling class of some kind that makes decision for the citizen of the state. So how each state function depends on the type of government it has. In many modern societies, government institution controls much of what happens within the citizen daily lives, then while other governments allow their citizens to exercise civil rights and liberty. So the position of the government now, when it comes to society, cannot be overemphasized. No, we said it earlier that when it comes to welfare, this thing now, policies, no, majorly sponsored by the government. So the policy, if the policy is made, it's the same government that will, make a regulation or a kind of law. Then when it comes to the what's it called, implementing it, so it's the same government. And when the government oversees the general welfare of the society. So then we look at community. The community plays a critical role in shaping society and engaging individuals to better and get a proper sense of livelihood. So this organization helps society operate and develop good of its citizens. So a community is a group of people in the same area and under the same government. They can defined according to location and type of settlement. So communities is a group of people living in the same area. So, and we have a lot of examples of community. We have, it depends on what's it called now, the purpose of that group of people in that community. We have what's it called, cities, we have towns, castle towns, we have company towns, we have metropolis, military posts, municipalities, and a lot of them. We have suburbs, towns, then the villages and others. So you find several extensive communities that are not defined by their location, but by the common attitudes and interests in their participants. Example is professional learning community, retirement community, senior living communities, then community service organization. So within that community now, within community, that organization to help with social issues. These community services and organizations are often funded by the local government to serve greater good, and then community-based organization. For instance, the CDA, the CDAs, even the what's it called now, the churches and organization. So they are all communities, Christian community, Muslim communities, and landlord associations and community and all others. So we refer to them as community-based organization. The organization are there to do what? To help the society, to resolve one issue or the other, to intervene in people's welfare within their community. So we have the healthcare institution. While some governments include healthcare as secondary institution, other states prefer to keep this social institution private. Example, organization within the healthcare includes adult daycare, doctor's office, clinic, and hospitals. Then judicial system and legal institution. like we said in the history of what's it called now, of social welfare system, it has been in existence right from the days of old, where we have the justice system in the pre-colonial eras. Then, people had norms and instructions that take care of what's it called now, people's vices. So, and anyone that commits any offense, there's always what's it called, a legal setting. Probably the elders will determine this thing. It might be a group of elders. In some tribes, they call them council of elders. Then now it depends on this thing. Then they determine what's it called now, the punishment that will be for those that commit this thing, for those that commit the offenders. So at times it could be beatings, flogging, stoning. At times it might lead to jungle, but the fact remains that it has been. So then the legal system. So this legal system is another institution that is typically run by the government. However, there are some societies that separate this institution, that means the judicial system, from the legal system. So part of the judicial system include appeal courts, that means the court, that's the judicial system. The court, the High Court, Federal Court, legal system, state court, Supreme Court, then mass media institution. The mass media shapes communication and options. That's another institution, mass media institution. So it shapes the communication and opinions. It presents in the most modern society, but other human groups are not exposed to the same level of media saturation. So elements of the institution of media include broadcasting corporations, film industry, internet media companies, music industry, newspaper and publishing companies. So, any questions so far? Any question? Policy. So we'll meet in the next class to conclude the course outline. So pending that time, I will send this thing, our assignments, through the admin to us. So thank you for your time.